Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I know I look grubby. Haven't had a shower. Haven't even gotten out of bed yet. Well, I take that back. I did at least use the restroom. But no, I really wanted to record this video before I got my day going. Um, yeah, the weather last night definitely took a downward turn. Very windy. A lot of dust and stuff in the air last night. Fortunately, I did not really have much in the way of a flare up, except towards the end. But for the most part, with work, excuse me, did really good. And I even had a shopping order at a drugstore where I had to go down the laundry detergent aisle several times. And at one point, I had stopped there because it was really strong. I'm like, you know what? I want to test this and see. And I stopped and I breathed in real deep and set for quite a while, and it was like, yeah, no issues, so that's good. um n- no issues really with the allergens out there. But like I said, they're towards the end, but it was mostly, well, temperatures definitely dropped. And we were like 60, 61, and then I wound up there at the end. I was dropping off or taking care of a delivery here close to home, and I noticed, well, the winds really picked up, and I also noticed when I got out of the car to pick up the delivery request, it was at a convenience store where they take care of the shopping ahead of time and so forth. I got out of the car to go in, and I noticed that I smelled rain in the air. So I kind of wonder if maybe the flare up that I was having was in relation to the latest part of the storm coming in. So yeah, but I just and it got, the winds really picked up something fierce. There was a lot of debris. It was making maneuvering a little bit dangerous. So I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and cut out a little bit early. Um, and think safety first, basically. And it was getting to be a little bit difficult on my chest as well. So I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to cut out a little bit early, especially since I'm right here close to home, and um, call it a night. So that worked out really good. Um, but um, but it's nice and calm today. I think for the most part, it's pretty much moved out and everything. When I got home, I did my inhaler, just the one puff, and noticed that it had a bit of a reaction on me, a little bit of a cramping up of my legs, my feet, or what have you. But I think it's working out really good. If I do it then I can sleep it off, and I wake up feeling a lot better. So I'm gonna stick with that. I did take it with me last night, just to be on the safe side in case I had a really bad flare up or something. But I'm glad I didn't have to worry about that, because I think that with the reaction that I did have, I think it would have made it a little difficult trying to get home. So, anywho, um, one of the reasons why I really wanted to do this video before I got my day started is before I left to um, go to work, uh, I kind of got some, I don't want to call it bad news, but challenging news. I know my glasses here. There we go. Let's get rid of those. Put those away. All right. Basically, my food stamps, they only last for 6 months, and that's coming up due here for next month. And I've kind of been holding off on it with doing the application, partly because of everything I've had going on here and so forth, but also because I also was told that I would be up for review for the Medicaid. And yeah, unfortunately, because of the amount of money that I have made, and with the Medicaid, well, with both, they go for 12 months. But of course, I had to upload the last 6 months. And because of the amount of money that I have made, it put me over for the cutoff. So, as far as Medicaid is concerned, so December 1st, I will not have Medicaid any longer. And of course, because of everything, my food stamps too have been slashed quite a bit. Um, I'm not too concerned with with the food stamps, but it's more the Medicaid. So, and I did find out that open enrollment doesn't start until November 1st. So I got to get with Nevada Health Link, which is basically the source for all of the insurance signups. Find out what I can possibly qualify for all of that. Fortunately, as far as my insulins are concerned and my syringes, I've been stockpiling, even though I haven't really been needing any of them. If they're coming up for, I have them all on auto renewal, and I've just been stockpiling. So I've got surplus of that. It's just the sensors, and those are costly. I'm not too with talking with them. Unfortunately, he's not, a licensed person who can really dive into things or whatever. But from what I have was listening to with the automated message before I could talk to a live person or whatever, there's a thing about rolling over your Medicaid benefits over to new insurance. So I'm not entirely too sure if I'm going to have to go through an approval process all over again, with regards to the sensor or what have you. But I want to keep that going as much as possible, even if I have to pay a copay. Yeah, I definitely want to keep that going. It's too vital. Like this morning, yeah, again, I was munching last night again. So when I got home, I was just like, I don't feel like eating anything because I was kind of full anyway. And I just wanted to go to bed. And I just took my long lasting, but because I didn't eat anything. I didn't have it happen in the past when I've just taken my long lasting and didn't eat anything to cover. I didn't have any issues. But this time, yeah, I definitely bottomed. And so, yeah, I needed to make sure I have the sensor. Even though it's not going off, I don't understand it. It's like, okay, whatever. It's the alarm isn't going off, which I don't understand. It's like it goes off the one time and I scan, but then it's not going off again. So I don't know. Maybe there's something in the settings that got messed up or so. I don't know. But it's like, yeah. I mean, I was pretty low. I was like 41 when I woke myself up. Even Possum didn't wake me up. It's like, what the heck? It's like, oh well, it is what it is. So, but I think she was preoccupied. She was playing. But she definitely, once she realized, I told her, "What, you're not doing your job or whatever." But yeah, after that, she was like, "Chum," right there with me. So, but the thing that really, with that I really wanted to get out of my system, really. It did trigger me in a way I did not anticipate. Instead of being all, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to possibly pay for insurance, unless I get subsidy, all those anxieties or whatever. it triggered me in another way, which I did not anticipate. So going right back to yesterday's readings that I did, um, and having the Wild Hunt card come popping out, flying out as I was shuffling. Um, and then, of course, with the storm, knowing that the hunters were around, coming through, clearing things out and everything. Yeah, there, and I was even triggered this morning by the Sagittarius November reading that MJ did and posted. It's like, okay, I'm definitely getting triggered right now with things. I'm gonna have to be a little careful. But the thing that really came out with me um, is I was thinking of my mom, and what came. I know my eye is kind of funky. What really came out with me with her is the fact that I'm in the same situation that she was in 20 years ago, and if it wasn't for if it wasn't for me, she she wouldn't have had any help at all whatsoever, because even though she was separated from my father, she wasn't getting any alimony. She couldn't qualify for disability benefits because her name was still in the house, so they considered that an asset until everything was decided, in court or whatever. And she was willing to sign a waiver even, just so that way she could get disability. But unfortunately, um, the federal government was just like, well, you can do one thing, but a judge could make it another decision, and so you could get settlement from the sale of the house. Um, so basically, and unfortunately, she wasn't able to work because she had mobility issues. Um, so if it wasn't for me, basically providing her sole source of support, who knows what would have happened? I know what would have happened. She would be living on the streets. And it was really that really came flooding back at me, you know, because now I'm kind of in the same situation. Fortunately, I'm able to work, but I'm having to be taking time off to be dealing with these issues. I'm not able to work as much as what I was able to before. I was working when I was supporting her. Depending on which I was basically driving cab. I had switched over to driving cab. Bug, little gnat. And depending on which company I was driving for, I was driving 60 to 72 hours a week. Trying to work that many hours now is a bit difficult for me. And now I'm, in this situation where, I'm basically kind of back where I started, only now I'm paying higher rent. But that was the thing I had to think about. The fact that, yeah, I may be paying higher rent, but I'm only supporting me now. So basically, the increase in rent kind of compensates for the fact that, at the time that I was supporting two people. But at that time, I was paying 100% of her diabetic supplies and her prescriptions. But difference is that now I don't have credit cards, and I know I'm not going to qualify for credit cards. So, some of that was coming out, with a little bit with those anxieties. But the thing that really came out is some of my mom's anxieties. Actually, it was more. I know my eye keeps bugging me. But it was is more. She had a. Don't get me wrong. I love my mom very, very. Sorry. I love her very much. I'm very happy of what I was able to do. But there were times where she could have a tendency to guilt trip me too. And that's what was coming out, is that anger. The fact that, you know, I was busting my ass. And then but there were times when it didn't seem like it was enough. And that was what was coming out. And it kind of it stuck with me last night as I was working. So much so, I was already on a delivery request. I believe I was on my way to go pick it up when another request came in for some place. I won't say which restaurant it was. It's a 24-hour place, um, where they serve, like variety of sort of stuff. And they had ordered basically a sirloin steak dinner. And I saw what I was going to get paid for it. It was $1.50. Yeah. So I went ahead and accepted it anyway, only because it would all be grouped in together into this one order. So, it's not that big of a deal. But I really got triggered when I went to go drop it off and I saw where I was dropping it off. I was just like, are you fucking kidding me with this shit? You're paying $1.50 for a delivery fee because you're too fucking lazy to go and get the food yourself, and yet you're living in a home that's close to $1 million. And of course, there was no tip. I felt this big. It's like I think of how much money I used to make and what I had been reduced to. But, and I couldn't help it. Fortunately, it was just a situation where just leaving it at the door. But the guy wound up coming outside. And as I was walking away, I couldn't, I basically, I was just so infuriated. And I couldn't help it because I was being triggered so much that I took the food. I kind of, I don't want to say I threw it, but I just kind of, like, choom, I dropped it basically on the door and I walked away and I cut across the lawn. I usually try not to do that. I try and be respectful of other people's properties, but I was just so infuriated. And I was just like, and I was just more mumbling more to myself than anything. I didn't know that he was coming out the door, or anything. And I just said it more to myself than anything. It's like, you know what? I hope that your time is worth more than $1.50 because I know mine is. And I didn't know that he was coming out the door at that point, and he yelled something at me. I have no idea, and I basically just tell him, "Go fuck yourself." I was just so infuriated because it's like, are you fucking kidding me with this? You just paid $1.50 delivery fee, no tip or anything, and you just spent all this money on a sirloin steak, and you're living in this expensive house and so forth. And I'm thinking that I realize he has no idea about anything about my circumstances. I realize I look young, so of course, probably thinks that I'm some young kid. I have no idea what he yelled. I mean, the wind was just howling so much, so much, I couldn't hear a word he said. And but it was just like the nerve of people. That's the thing. It kept being triggered with me with last night. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've forgiven my mother. I have forget. I'm forgiving him also in the process. He doesn't know what he's doing. But it just it infuriates me that people will pass judgment and they have no idea. And I'm sure that I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if maybe his reaction was, "Well, he'll get a better paying job," or whatever. But he has no idea. But that's the thing. People make assumptions. They don't realize that sometimes people are doing the sort of work that they're doing because it's all that they can do. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't mind switching back over to maybe doing ride sharing. But at the same point, there I sit again. I know I'm going through a healing process, and I don't know if it's something that I would be able to do or not. It just, yeah, I'm just I'll admit, I'm being triggered quite a bit right now. And then with watching the SADS reading for November this morning, it's uh, over on Soulful Revolution uh, channel on YouTube, in case you're interested. Um, with another situation in my life, it's just like I feel like right now I'm just really being triggered by a lot of things, um, which doesn't surprise me considering the readings that have been coming out here lately, and of course the fact that Pluto is, we're wrapping things up with Pluto being in Capricorn, and we have these retrogrades, and Saturn's going to be going direct next month, blah 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 blah. um it's I have to make sure I have everything in those perspectives and not let it dictate my life, not let it guide my life. I know I just pretty much said the same thing. um but I think it is important for me to remember that, so that I continue with the healing part of my journey. Yeah, there's been quite a bit in my life that has happened, not as much as other people. Um, and I have to remember I'm on a fresh new start too. And this is part of it. This is part of me stepping up, part of me stepping towards that journey, stepping up to go down that path that I really want to be going down. That's what it boils down to. And basically, in the end, as far as what has happened with everything, um, it's just another challenge. It is another challenge for me to conquer, but I have to remember that basically things really haven't changed from that point to now, as as far as financial is concerned. It's just my mindset, my perspective. Yeah, my circumstances have changed also. I'm not the healthy person that I was 20 years ago, but I'm getting there. I'm learning how to live with it. And that's what's important. It's difficult. And it's helping with the healing, it's helping with the clearing, and helping to light that fire just a little bit more. Actually, a lot more. Because it isn't that I can't, I won't allow myself to be one of these people that I see. There's a street, it's less than a block away. Um, I drive down it every once in a while coming home. I did last night. And there's an encampment there, homeless encampment. And have a nice little, I hate saying a nice little, but they're doing the best they can considering their circumstances. Helping each other out, having things set up with, with tents and so forth, tarps. One person has a little grill. They're able to do some fires, so in that way have the fire contained and have some warmth. By the time I was coming home, it was like 56, 57 degrees on my dashboard. So, and then with the winds, I'm sure made it feel colder too. So at least they have that, and they have that little sense of community there. But that's nice little reminders. It's a nice little reminder of how good I actually do have it. Um, I just need to fight for it even that much more. So I know this has been a bit of an emotional one, but I need to get it out too. Um, with regards to that Sag video, it did have to do with the relationship. I was kind of, I was actually really interested in somebody this past summer, um, but that blew up. I just, I hope that in some ways I still care for that person very much. Um, I just wish that we could have a decent conversation, air things out. That's what I hope. And that's in relation to that Sag video. And the reason why I watch it is because my North Node is in Sag. So, anywho, um, I know. I hope that this video isn't bringing anybody down, but I also hope that this video helps somebody who may be going through some similar things right now. I know I know that this month with my Wheel of the Year reading with the cards that I pulled last year for this month, Five of Wands, Seven of Swords. So yeah, I knew that this month was going to be very challenging, but cards for November, December, pretty good. November, really good. King of Wands and Nine of Cups. Perfect, especially with it being my birthday next month. 50. Yeah, 50 years. And then December, kind of a mixed bag, but I felt like it was good, good vibes. Ace of Cups, New Beginning of Love, um, but also Five of Pentacles. Five of Pentacles could be financial strain or feeling like left out in the cold or whatever. But I feel that because it's following the cards for November, beginning of new love, despite the, um, I feel that my wish is going to be granted. Nine of Cups is all about wishes being granted. Um, and that's going to bring in the new beginning of love. Yeah. And that things are going to be turning around really good. But I just have to get through this month. And I want to make sure I mention that so you all don't get all worried or anything. I feel that, yeah, it's going to um, be good next year. I think it's going to be, yeah, this has been a 2 year for me numerologically, and next year's 50 is going to start a 3 year, all that creative self-expression. So, all right. Thank you guys. I really appreciate you all let me do these videos and venting, and I hope it helps somebody who's going through something similar. Okay. I don't think I'm going to have time to do my yoga or whatever. I'll see. It's already after 1. All right. I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon.